All right, let's get into it. Today, we're looking at a source that's offering a pretty radical new theory about why our blood vessels get older. And believe me, it really shakes up the foundations of what a lot of people think they know about medicine. Welcome to the Lenny and Maria Sanchez Notebook lmvideos.com overview show.
Okay, so this whole thing kicks off with a recent scientific study. This is the paper that basically sparked the really controversial article that we're going to unpack today.
So this study, and it was published in a big-time heart journal, right? It says that a COVID infection might age your blood vessels by about 5 years, and that this seems to hit women harder. Now that statement, that's the one that really sets the stage for a huge counterargument.
But what if that whole idea is just wrong? This is where our source material just jumps right in. It doesn't just poke holes in the study's findings. No, it goes way deeper. It attacks the entire foundation the study was built on in the first place. So now, we're going to dig into our source material, and you'll see it builds a completely different case from square one. And it starts with some pretty wild claims.
And boom, there it is. The author just comes right out and says there's no such thing as a COVID infection. No viruses, no infectious diseases, no contagion. I mean, this isn't just a small disagreement, you know? This is a head-on challenge to the entire basis of that original study.
So if viruses aren't the bad guys here, then what is? Well, according to this author, the real culprits behind disease are the non-human, inappropriate plant-centered diet and toxic exposure. And to build on that point, the source completely reframes how our bodies defend themselves. It argues that we don't really have an immune system. Instead, what we have is a detoxification and self-healing system. The idea here is that this system just works to clear out junk and toxins, and bacteria are actually there to help with the cleanup. Okay, so after laying out this whole new framework, the source then pivots. It stops talking about the science and starts going after the scientists themselves, directly attacking the credibility of the people who did the original study.
What the author does is pretty interesting. They trace this whole historical line, connecting the lead researcher's university all the way back in time, through the old University of Paris, and linking it to the Catholic Church and even the founder of the Jesuits, a guy named Ignatius of Loyola.
And it's this historical connection that the source uses as the basis for its main accusation. It claims the lead researcher is basically a disinformation agent who is just following a long tradition of deceit.
All right, so with this whole alternative idea in mind, how does it explain what that original study found? The part about women's blood vessels seeming to age faster.
And right here, this is where you can see the two ideas clash head-on. The study, it blames a virus. The author, they point the finger directly at diet. The argument is that women are conditioned by society to eat more plant-based foods and seed oils, and in doing so, they're starving their bodies of the exact stuff needed to repair blood vessels.
So what are those essential building blocks? Well, the author lays them all out. We're talking cholesterol, saturated fats, B vitamins, basically a whole list of things that the source claims are absolutely essential for fixing blood vessels. And this is key, it states you can only get them from animal-based foods. So if you have a totally different idea of what the problem is, well, it's probably no surprise that the solution is going to be completely different too.
Right. So the source just tosses out all the usual medical treatments, things like drugs for blood pressure or cholesterol. In fact, it calls cholesterol-lowering drugs total insanity. And of course, vaccines are out too. Instead, the author says the only solution is to change what you eat.
And here's the game plan, according to the author. It's a pretty clear three-step process. Step 1, get rid of the bad stuff, like carbs and seed oils. Step 2, give your body real nutrition from animal foods. And Step 3, really focus on cholesterol and saturated fats, because those are supposedly the key to repairing your tissues. And this all leads to the author's final, pretty intense conclusion. This whole thing, the mainstream study versus this dietary theory, is framed as something way bigger than just a scientific disagreement. The author claims it's all part of a brilliant, incredibly evil illusion, a long-running strategy designed to keep people enslaved without them even knowing it. And now that is a heck of a thought to end on. Thank you for listening to another session of the Lenny and Maria Sanchez Video Overview Show, produced and archived at the website notebooklmvideos.com.